the equation with the general form or standard form. And standard form is y is equal to a into sine bx minus c plus d. Okay, so I'll show you the standard form. Yeah, here the standard form of function in sine is f of x is equal to a into a times sine bx minus c plus d, and if it is cos function, a times cos bx minus c plus d. Now if it is either in sine function or cos function, the values will not change. Amplitude will be absolute value of a. That means the coefficient which is present here will take the absolute value of a, and period will be 2 pi by b, 2 pi by mod b, and unit will be pi d by 4. You can, here it is written as p, and we can take it as pi also. Okay, pi d by 4. The phase shift will be bx minus c is equal to 0. Then we can find x value from there, and vertical shift will be d, the constant, and reflection over x axis if a is negative, and if a is positive it will be over y axis. So 1 2 3 4 5 6, we have 6 parameters. Amplitude is absolute value of a, period will be 2 pi by mod b, where b is the coefficient of x here, and phase shift will, unit will be pi d by 4, and phase shift will be bx minus c is equal to 0. I mean, that means we have to equate the inside part of function to 0, and we need to find the value of x. And vertical shift will be d, and reflection will be over y axis if a is positive, it will be over x axis if a is negative. So with this prior information we can solve the problem. Let me do it. Now here, yeah, here the function is given as y is equal to 2 times sine x minus pi by 4. So it will be y is equal to a into sine bx minus c plus d. Now here in place of a we got 2, in place of a we got 2, and in place of b we got 1, because the coefficient of x is here b, and here the coefficient is 1. So b is equal to 1, and c is equal to pi by 4. C is equal to pi by 4, and there is no addition constant here, so we'll take it as 0. So d is equal to 0. So the first and foremost thing before solving the problem is comparing it with the standard form and writing all the coefficients a, b, c, d. So the first thing will be amplitude. So we know that amplitude is absolute value of a. So amplitude will be the absolute value of a. And I think you know the definition of absolute value. So even the value is negative, it will return a positive value, right? So the absolute value of 2 is again 2. So this is amplitude. And period will be 2 pi by mod b, or 2 pi by absolute value of b. So 2 pi by b value here is 1. So 2 pi by 1, 2 pi. That means for every interval of 2 pi, the graph will repeat. The main thing, the main definition of period is the least value after which the graph repeats cycle once again. For example, if you plot a graph for sine theta, so it will repeat after every 2 pi radians. Let me show you here. I'll take an example of sine theta. Zero, 90, 180, 270, 360. So the value of sine 0 is 0 at 0 degrees, and sine 90 is 1, sine 180 is again 0, sine 270 is minus 1, and sine 360 is again 0. So if we plot the graph, see, now for an interval of 2 pi, again the graph will become like this. So again the graph will become 1 at 5 pi by 2, 2 pi plus pi by 2, 5 pi by 2. Again it will become 0 at 6 pi. See, that means for every 2 pi radians, for every interval of 2 pi radians, the graph starts repeating, cycling. So So the minimum value of such value is period. Period means the value after which graph starts repeating once again. So that we can directly find using the formula of 2 pi by mod b. Okay, 2 pi by absolute value of b. So here the value of b is 1. So period will be 2 pi. Next.
Can you do number 3?
Problem?
After this, can you do number 3? After you finish number 9.
No, I'm not getting what you're saying.
No, you're on number 9 right now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
After that. Can you
Yeah,
do number
sure.
3?
After this problem, we'll do number 2 problem. Yeah. Okay. So here, the phase shift. The phase shift means we need to equate the function value inside the function value to 0. Then we can find x. So let me do it. So to find the phase shift, particularly horizontal phase shift, we need to equate the value which is inside the function to 0. So x minus pi by 4 should be equal to 0, and if we add pi by 4 on both sides, it will become x is equal to pi by 4. So this is the phase shift. And if you want to find vertical phase shift, case is very simple, d value. So vertical phase shift, is nothing but d. So here the value of d is 0. And the last thing, reflections. So reflections depend on the value of a. So here a is positive. That means reflection will be on vertical y-axis. See here. A reflection over x-axis if a is negative, and reflection will be over y-axis if a is positive. Okay. So here a is positive, therefore reflection will be on y-axis. Yeah. Now let me do it. Third question.
I just don't understand how to graph it. It's not a graph.
Okay. Yeah. So let me solve the graph also. You got the remaining values, amplitude, period, phase shift.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to draw the graph. Let me draw the graph. Since the function graph is dependent on the value of x and we were given different values of x here, so we'll just substitute the values of x at different points. So at x is equal to 0, at x is equal to 0 somewhere here, but x is equal to 0, so y will be minus 2 into sine 0 plus 1, and it will be 0 because sine 0 is 0, so the value will become 0 here. 0 plus 1 will be 1. So at x is equal to 0, the value of y is 1. So here the function will be positive 1. Okay, I'm just highlighting the point here. Now let me take in the positive y x-axis direction. So at x is equal to pi by 4. At x is equal to pi by 4. So the value will be minus 2 sine pi by 4 plus 1. So it will become minus 2 into sine 45. Sine pi by 4 is 1 by root 2, right? You know the values, right? Yeah. So sine 45 is 1 by root 2. So which will become minus root 2 plus 1, because 2 times 1 by root 2 is 2 by root 2, and this 2 can be written as root 2 times root 2 by root 2. So if one root 2 gets cancelled with another root, so we will be left with one more root 2, so it will become minus root 2 plus 1, or simply 1 minus root 2. So yeah, or you can directly take the help of calculator. We can directly find the value of minus 2 into 1 by root 2 plus 1, so it will be approximately minus 0.414. I'll show you. That's it. 1 minus root 2 minus 0.414. That means at x is equal to pi by 4, the value is somewhere here between 0 and minus 1, somewhere here between 0 and minus 1. Okay, the value is minus 0.414. Now in the same way, if we do it, the value at x is equal to pi by 2, at x is equal to pi by 2, that means we need to substitute the value of x in place of pi by 2 in place of x, so it will become minus 2 into sine 90 plus 1. So minus 2 into 1 plus 1, minus 2 plus 1 will become minus 1. That means at x is equal to 90, the value is minus 1. So it will become here. Now, so let me solve for at x is equal to 3 pi by 4. So at x is equal to 3 pi by 4. So y will be minus 2 sine times 3 pi by 4 plus 1, and sine 3 pi by 4, sine 3 pi by 4 is nothing but sine 135 degrees, because pi by 4 is 45. If you can replace the pi value with 180, because we know that pi radians is equal to 180 degrees, so we'll get sine 135, and sine 135 is same as sine 180 minus 45, so it will become sine 45. Or the best thing is you can take the help of calculator if it is allowed, or I'll tell you separate topic why sine 135 is also same as sine 45. So here the value of sine 135, we don't know the value of 135, because we know the values only from 0 to 90. We know the value of sine 0, we know the value of sine 30, we know the value of sine 45, we know the value of sine 60 and sine 90. But what if the value is beyond 90? So then we have to apply the concept of complementary angles and supplementary angles. Here the value is sine 135. I can write 135 as 180 minus 45. So sine 180 minus theta is same as sine theta. So it will become sine 45. Okay. So to understand it more clearly, I'll share one more video. So as of now, remember, sine 135 is same as sine 45. So the value will be same. So minus 2 into 1 by root 2 plus 1. So it is same as minus 0.414 as we did here. So again, at 3 by 4, the value will come here somewhere very parallel to this point. And at sine at pi, the value of pi. So directly we will substitute the value of pi. At x is equal to pi, so y is equal to minus 2 sine x. So x you need to substitute the value of pi in place of x plus 1, and we know the value of sine pi is 0. So minus 2 times 0 plus 1. So 0 plus 1 will be 1. So the value of pi will be 1. So 1 means again it will jump to positive y axis. So like that, if you continue, here the graph is more or like this. No.
It still touches 0 though.
No, no, no. It will not touch it. It will not touch it. Like this, it will come. Okay. So like that, we have to substitute the different values of x at different points. Then we'll get the y values at different points. Are you allowed to use the take of the calculator?
Not sure, but
Yeah. Okay then. See, since I mean, you need to know the concept of complementary and supplementary angles. Only then you can find all these values: 5 pi by 4, 3 pi by 2, 7 pi by 4. So to find all these values, we need to be thorough in that topic. So if calculator is allowed, then that is not a big deal. But if calculator is not allowed, then we have to know the topic. So I'll definitely teach you the topic because I already done the topic. I'll share you the video. But as of now, remember this topic, okay?
the graph doesn't look the same as like it didn't go below. It didn't go below 0.
Oh, please share with me. I'll just sheet.
I said it once on the screen.
Yeah. I'll just see it. See here the question is not that question is different. Here the question is minus sine 2x plus 1. I mean it will be question number 3 in another PDF.
Asking for this one.
Okay, we'll do this one. Okay, no problem. We'll do this one now itself. Okay, don't worry.
It's that.
Yeah. Directly we'll start with substitution of values. So the function is y is equal to minus sine 2x plus 1. The function value is y is equal to minus sine 2x plus 1. So substitute the value of x as 0. So it will become y is equal to minus sine 0 plus 1. So that will be 0 plus 1, which is equal to 1, because sine 0 is 0 and negative of 0 is also 0. So the value of function at x is equal to 0 is 1. So at 0 the value of function is 1. So we'll get point here. I just made a cross mark here. Now we'll find the value at another point. So at x is equal to pi by 4, the value of function will be minus sine of 2 times pi by 4 plus 1. So it will become minus sine 90. 2 ones are 2 twos are sine 90 minus sine 90 plus 1. And we know the value of sine 90 is 1. So minus 1 plus 1. The answer is 0. So at x is equal to pi by 4, the value of the function is 0. That means it will come exactly on the axis. And again, at x is equal to pi by 2. At x is equal to pi by 2. Okay. So let me substitute the value of function at x is equal to pi by 2. So y will be minus sine times 2 into pi by 2 plus 1. So 2 and 2 gets cancelled. It will become minus sine pi plus 1. So sine pi, I mean, as I told you, sine 0 is 0 and sine pi value, that means sine 180 is also 0. So that will become minus of 0. Negative of 0 is 0 plus 1, which will become 1. So here the function value is 1 at x is equal to pi by 2. So again it will come here. Now again, if you take the value of 3 pi by 4, so let me substitute here. So at x is equal to 3 pi by 4. At x is equal to 3 pi by 4. So let me substitute the value of x in the function. That will become y is equal to minus sine 2 times 3 pi by 4 plus 1. So 2 ones are 2 2s are, you can directly cancel. So y is equal to minus sine times 3 pi by 2 plus 1. So which is nothing but minus sine 270. 3 times pi by 2. Pi by 2 is 90. So if you substitute the value of pi as 180, the value inside will become 270 plus 1. And the value of sine 270 is minus 1. So minus of minus 1, negative of negative 1 plus 1. That means 1 plus 1 will become 2. It will become 2. Okay. So the graph will extend up to 2 at 3 by 4. So at 3 by 4, 3 pi by 4, the graph will increase up to 2 here. So here the point will come. Now coming back to pi again. So at x is equal to pi. At x is equal to pi. So pi will become minus sine 2 pi plus 1. And we know this value of sine 2 pi is 0 because sine 0, sine 180, sine 360, all the even multiples of 90 or the multiples of 180. Sine 0, sine 180, sine 360, and 183s are sine 540, 184s are sine 720. All the sine multiples of 180 is 0. Okay, so the sine 2 pi value is 0 plus 1, so that will become 1. So at x is equal to pi, the function value is 1. So let me substitute here. At x is equal to pi, the function value is 1 again. So again it will drop to here 1. So then we'll substitute the value of here 5 pi by 4, I think. Yeah, 5 pi by 4. So let me substitute the value of 5 pi by 4. At x is equal to 5 pi by 4. So y is equal to minus sine 2 times 5 pi by 4 plus 1. 2 ones are 2 2s are. So y is equal to minus sine 5 pi by 2 plus 1. So it will become 5 times 90. So sine 450 degrees plus 1. And 450 is same as 360 plus 90. I'll tell you one thing. In trigonometry, in particularly when you're talking about the angles, so here the value is 0, here the value is 90, here the value is 180, and here it will become 270, and again here it will become 360. That means if we start from here, one complete rotation will be 360. Now if you observe the initial point and ending point, they are one at the same. So 0 degrees is same as 360 degrees. So if you want to find sine 360, it is same as sine 0. In the same way, sine 450 can be written as sine 360 plus 90. And 360 is same as 0 degrees. We can directly eliminate it. So the value is sine 90. So sine 450 is same as sine 90 because 450, if you can write it as 360 plus 90, and 360 it doesn't mean anything because 360 is nothing but equivalent to 0 degrees. So it will become 0 plus 90, sine 90. The answer is 1. So minus 1 plus 1, and minus 1 plus 1 is 0 here. So the function value of this function at 5 pi by 4 is 0. So at 5 pi by 4, the value is 0. Now you can see here, the graph will start from here. It goes up to 1 at pi by 2, 2 at 3 pi by 4, again it will come to 1 at pi, and again it will come to 0 at 5 pi by 4. Then it starts continuing like that. Okay. Yeah. And for every this cycle, it is repeating. Now what is the value of this entire length? So with each interval consists of pi by 4. So pi by 4, pi by 4, pi by 4, pi by 4. So 4 times pi by 4 will be pi. So for every gap of pi radians, it is repeating, so the period will be pi, and amplitude will be absolute value of a, so it will become minus 1, it will become plus 1. And period we can also find the using formula 2 pi by mod b, so 2 pi by 2, so even that it will become pi. We can directly obtain from the graph, or we can use the formula to find the period. Now phase shift, so here the phase shift, I mean the function inside the graph is 2x, so if 2x is equal to 0, then x is equal to 0 over 2 will become 0, and vertical shift is 1, and reflection is over x-axis, because the absolute value, the value of a is negative here. So like that you can find. So asymptotes are none. Right, we just have to substitute the values of x at different values in the graph, so then we can obtain the clear cut graph. Yeah.
Can we do like 1 or 2 tan problems?
And oh yes, sure. Let me do it.
Those ones have asymptotes, right?
Yeah, they are having asymptote because they will extend up to infinity. Yeah. I'm just checking how many asymptotes are possible here. Yeah, we'll. Yeah, no problem. We'll just solve it. So here the function is y is equal to minus of tan x minus pi by 2. So I'll write it here. The function is y is equal to minus tan of x minus pi by 2, and for every interval of pi by 4 we need to substitute the values of x here. So yeah, and x is equal to 0 degrees, so we will just substitute the value of x inside the function. So y is equal to minus tan 0 minus pi by 2, so which will become minus tan of minus pi by 2, and minus of tan 90 is undefined, so it will become, so minus of minus undefined will become undefined, so it undefined here we can refer it as infinity also, so it will extend to infinity. So at x is equal to pi by 4, 0 degrees, at x is equal to 0 degrees the value is undefined. That means here the value, and we don't know the value of here, so it will somewhere it will be undefined, so it will start from here. Okay, so I'll just share the graph here. Yeah, it'll be like this. Let me solve it next the value, so that we can check whether it is lying in positive x-axis or y-axis. So I'll come up with one more value. So at x is equal to pi by 4 here, so y is equal to minus tan times pi by 4 minus pi by 2, so y is equal to minus tan of 45 minus 90 is minus 45. So it become minus of minus 1, which is 1. That means at x is equal to pi by 4, the value is absolutely 1 here. At x is equal to pi by 4, the value is absolutely equal to 1. Okay, so then we'll move on to pi by 2. So we'll just find some 5 values, then we'll plot the graph. At x is equal to pi by 2, so y is equal to minus tan times pi by 2 minus pi by 2, and just substitute the value of x here. So it will become minus tan times 0. So therefore y is equal to minus 0. So y is equal to 0. Next, at x is equal to 3 pi by 4. At x is equal to 3 pi by 4. So y is equal to minus tan times 3 pi by 4 minus pi by 2. So therefore y is equal to minus tan times 3 times pi by 4 is 135. 135 minus 90 is 45. So y is equal to minus tan 45. It will become minus 1. So at x is equal to 3 pi by 4, the value is minus 1. At 90, the value is 0. At 3 pi by 4, the value is minus 1. At 90, the value is 0. And at 3 pi by 4, the value is minus 1. Now we'll check the at value of pi. So let me check here. At x is equal to pi. So y is equal to minus tan times pi minus pi by 2. So y is equal to minus tan 90, and y is equal to minus undefined. Tan 90 is undefined, so it will become minus undefined. So it will extend here. So it will become here. Minus undefined means in negative y-axis. So if you plot the graph, it will become like this. So it will not meet any line, but it will extend up to infinity. So now again we have to start from 5 pi by 4. So here 5 pi by 4 is there. At x is equal to 5 pi by 4. So we'll substitute here. So y is equal to minus of tan 5 pi by 4 minus pi by 2. Yeah. Now, so it will become y is equal to minus tan times 5 pi by 4 minus pi by 2. I can write as 2 pi by 4. So which will become minus tan times 3 pi by 4. So which is minus tan 135. And tan 135 is tan 180 minus 45. So it will become minus 1. So minus of minus 1. It will become 1. So at 5 pi by 4 again it starts at 1. So at 5 pi by 4 again it starts at 1. Then again we'll find it at 3 pi by 2. So again it will become 3 pi by 2. So we'll just find the value, the function of 3 pi by 2. So y is equal to minus of tan 3 pi by 2 minus pi by 2. So y is equal to minus tan 3 pi by 2 minus pi by 2 is 2 pi by 2. So 2 and 2 gets cancelled. Therefore y is equal to minus tan pi. And the value of tan pi is 0 because tan 0 is 0. Tan pi is also 0. So y is equal to 0. 5 3 pi by 2 0 again. Then we check it 7 pi by 4. Y is equal to minus tan 7 pi by 4 minus pi by 2 minus tan 7 pi by 4 minus pi by 2. So it will can be written as minus tan 7 pi by 4 minus pi by 2 can be written as 2 pi by 4 because to make denominators equal. So it will become minus tan 5 pi by 4. So it will become minus tan pi plus pi by 4, which is nothing but 180 plus theta. So 180 plus means tan is positive, and it will become minus tan 45. So it will become minus 1. So the value of the function at x is equal to 7 pi by 4 is minus 1 actually. Again at 2 pi. So if you substitute 2 pi here, 2 pi minus pi by 2. So 2 pi minus pi by 2. So is 3 pi by 2. So 3 pi by 2 is nothing but tan 270 is undefined. So minus of minus undefined will become undefined. So again we'll get the value as here, somewhere here, undefined.
To here, negative part of the horizontal axis will be this method really just you can note that I feel alright, so we have this tick mark and its y coordinate or the points that you marked like left pi over 2. Alright, that's our first final point. At this point now you can repeat this pattern that we have in green. So I'll show the repeats in purple. And you're simply
Yeah, yes, yeah. Okay then. So now we have solved until here 5 by 4. Let me do it at x is equal to 3 pi by 2. So if you substitute the value of x is equal to 3 pi by 2 in the function in place of x, so 3 pi by 2 minus pi by 2. So 3 pi by 2 minus pi by 2 is 2 pi by 2. And here 2 and 2 gets cancelled, will become minus tan pi. And tan pi is 0. So y is equal to negative of 0, it will become 0. That means at x is equal to 3 pi by 2, the function value is 0. So I'll just substitute here. At x is equal to 3 pi by 2, at x is equal to 3 pi by 2 here, the function value is 0 here. Okay, now we'll check at x is equal to 7 pi by 4. Yeah, at x is equal to 7 pi by 4. So now we just have to substitute the value of x as 7 pi by 4. So it will become 7 pi by 4 minus pi by 2. And 7 pi by 4 minus pi by 2. So it will become easy when denominated for same. So I'll just multiply this thing with 2 and 2. So it will just become 7 pi by 4 minus 2 pi by 4. And 7 pi by 4 minus 2 pi by 4 is 5 pi by 4. So minus tan over 5 pi by 4. And 5 pi by 4 is nothing but 180 plus pi by 4. So we know that tan 180 plus theta is same tan theta. So all this will cover in this supplementary and complementary angles. I will definitely share that. So tan 5 pi by 4 is same as tan pi plus pi by 4, and the value is minus 1 here. So if you substitute the value of minus 1 at x is equal to 7 pi by 4, yeah, at 7 pi by 4, at 7 pi by 4, see here, at 7 pi by 4 the value is minus 1. So at 7 pi by 4 the value is minus 1. So here, okay. And at 2 pi, and at 2 pi is pretty simple because we just have to replace here 2 pi. So what I'll do is minus tan, in place of x we have to replace 2 pi. So I'll just do here. So y is equal to minus tan x minus pi by 2. So what we have to do is we have to substitute the value of 2 pi. So 2 pi minus pi by 2. So it will become minus tan 2 to that 4. 4 pi minus pi, 3 pi by 2. So it is minus tan 270. And tan 270 is undefined, minus undefined. So the value again extend up to minus undefined at 2 pi by 3, so I mean 2 pi. So the graph will look like this. So it will extend from positive infinity at 3 pi by 4 to 1 here, and again at 2 pi it will become undefined here. So I'll just draw the graph neatly. I'll just take all the values and I'll draw the graph once again, okay? So please wait here. Yeah. Now, the first value we got at x is equal to 0 is undefined. Okay, keep it aside. At x is equal to 0, the value is undefined. Now, at x is equal to pi by 4, the value is 1. At x is equal to pi by 4, the value is 1. Okay, so at pi by 4, the value is 1. So at pi by 4, the value is 1, positive 1. Okay, I'll just putting a cross mark here. Now, at x is equal to pi by 2, the value is 0. So at pi by 2, the function value is 0. So at pi by 2, the function value is 0. So at pi by 2, the function value is 0. Now, at x is equal to 3 pi by 4, the function value is minus 1. So at x is equal to 3 pi by 4, the function value is minus 1. And at x is equal to pi, and x is equal to pi, the function value is again undefined, negative undefined. Pi, it is undefined. So I'll just mark here, undefined means it will extend up to undefined, I mean the last value of y axis, okay? So then at x is equal to 5 pi by 4, the value is 1. The x is equal to 5 by 4, the value is 1. So here at x is equal to 5 pi by 4, the value is 1. So at x is equal to 5 pi by 4, the value is 1. Again it will start from here. Now at x is equal to 3 pi by 2, at x is equal to 3 pi by 2, the value is 0. At x is equal to 3 pi by 2, the value is 0. So at x is equal to 3 pi by 2, the value is 0 here. That means exactly to lie on x-axis. Again at x is equal to 7 pi by 4. 7 pi by 4. If you check it, 7 pi by 4, the value is minus 1. So at x is equal to 7 pi by 4, the value is minus 1. And at x is equal to 2 pi, and at x is equal to 2 pi, again the value is negative infinity. So it will extend again here. So overall, if you plot the graph, it starts at infinity at 0. So it,
We'll skip pi and 2 pi, right?
no, pi infinity. The value of pi, the value of the function pi is infinity, negative infinity, and even 2 pi also negative infinity. So
Yeah, I see it.
yeah. So it will be discontinued here at pi because it is extending up to negative infinity. Now again at 5 pi before it starts from 1. Again it will become 0 at 5 pi 3 pi by 2. Again it will become minus 1 at 7 pi by 4. So again it will extend up to negative infinity at 2. So since at pi it extends up to negative infinity, the next value will start from positive infinity. Like this it will start. So there is no continuation, right? So that's why it will start from positive infinity. Like that. And here also the next value start from here. Like that it will come. Okay, so once again I'll do all these problems, Shashank.
So what are the acids?
Yeah, I have observed the formula. The asymptotes is given by x is equal to 0 plus n pi, where 0 is the value of d. For example, if the value is compared with the minus of or a tan bx minus c plus d, so here the value of d is 0. So directly the number of asymptotes possible is given by, I'll show the formula here. I'll just share with the link. Okay. So here, if you observe carefully, the vertical asymptote is given by x is equal to 0 plus n pi, whereas n is an integer. So you can write that thing. So it is actually d. Here the value of d is 0, so that's why it is given by 0 plus n pi. So it depends. Like if you are taking from 0 to 2 pi, that means the value of n is 2. So we get two asymptotes here, right? Here 1 and here it is 1. So like that, if we are taking how many, like the range, if the range is big, we'll get that number of asymptotes. Here the value we are taking from 0 to 2 pi. So 0 to 2 pi, that means if we compare it with n pi, so 2 pi in place of n pi, n is equal to 2. That means two asymptotes is possible, number 1 and number 2, like that. This is completely one asymptote and this is completely one asymptote. So it will extend up to here, like that. So it depends on that.
Yeah. So
Yes, Shan. So I'll do all the problems and I'll share it